Welcome on board, chosen one. Try not to trip over the broken expectations your enemies left on the floor. They've been shedding them ever since you stopped playing the role they wrote for you. They swore they had you pinned. They acted like they owned the script of your life. They thought you were just some ticking fuse waiting for a spark. Push them a little more, they'll break. That's what they whispered. Watch, they're almost there. That's what they laughed. They wanted the meltdown. They wanted the chaos. They were praying for the version of you that would scream, cry, beg, or explode. They wanted anger because anger is easy to provoke and even easier to dismiss. Except you didn't give them the tantrum they rehearsed for. You didn't crack the way they bet their ego on. Instead, you hit them with the one thing every insecure enemy fears. You went quiet, not the silence of surrender. The silence of someone who just realized the entire battlefield is beneath them. The silence that says, I'm done warning you. I'm done explaining myself. I'm done giving you the privilege of my reactions. That silence made the whole room flinch. It made the loud ones choke on their own words. It made the experts question their expert opinions. The silence wasn't your downfall. It was your ascension. Hit that like button and subscribe, chosen one, to pay this message back and strengthen this army with your presence. What they don't say out loud is the part you can hear in their eyes now. That tiny, pathetic twitch of fear when you walk in. That awkward pause when your name comes up. That sudden politeness from the same people who once dragged you through the mud. They're scrambling because your calm is too heavy for them. Your control is too sharp. They thought they knew you, but you became the version of yourself they never prepared for. You became the aftermath they never imagined surviving. You became the storm that doesn't roar, it waits. And this shift didn't come from nowhere. You didn't wake up one day unbothered for fun. No, you earned this energy. You earned it in the nights nobody saw you break and rebuild yourself. You earned it in the moments when you cried quietly, plotting your exit from every trap they set. They wanted you loud because loud people are easy to frame. But you learned something they never wanted you to understand. When you stop reacting, you stop bleeding. When you stop explaining, you stop shrinking. When you stop giving them updates, you stop giving them access. It's crazy how predictable enemies are, chosen one. Same formula every time. They poke you, watch you shake, then pretend they're innocent. They hit you with lies, then act shocked when the truth returns with receipts. You've been through situations that would have erased other people. You've endured losses that should have hardened your heart beyond repair. You've carried betrayals that should have turned you bitter. But instead of collapsing, you learned, you watched, you evolved. And the universe noticed. You're walking around with a spirit that survived sabotage, jealousy, manipulation, and fake love disguised as concern. You came out smarter, quieter, and more dangerous to the ones who wished on your downfall. They wanted you punching walls. Instead, you started moving like someone who finally knows their worth. They wanted you screaming in frustration. Instead, you started choosing silence like a weapon. They wanted you desperate. Instead, you started walking away like nothing was worth draining your peace. That's why they're scared now. They can't read you. They can't predict you. They can't guilt trip you. They can't twist your words. They can't play director of your emotions anymore. You stopped handing out backstage passes to people who only came to sabotage the show. You became the version of yourself that walks with a past full of proof. The proof that you faced manipulation and didn't fold. The proof that you faced abandonment and still rose. The proof that you stood in rooms full of people who secretly hated you and still kept your head straight. You know what really gets them? The fact that you're not bragging about any of this. You're not posting breakdowns. You're not announcing your every move. You're not defending yourself to people who already made up their minds. You're just living, just existing, just breathing with a level of calm that feels like a threat. Because to them, your silence isn't silence, it's an omen. They wished you were angry, because anger they could handle, anger they could twist, anger they could label. But this version of you, this controlled, strategic, healed version, that's worse for them, much worse. That's the version that doesn't repeat cycles, doesn't beg for closure, doesn't play into guilt, and doesn't let clowns audition for roles in your life anymore. So stand there in the ruins of everything they tried to destroy. Feel the air shift around you. Notice the way people look at you now. This is what happens when a chosen one walks out of the fire without the smoke. You became the quiet storm. The one nobody can predict, but everyone feels. The one they wish was angry so they could understand you again. But they lost that privilege. And now all that's left is the fear of what you'll become next. And chosen one, don't think I'm done with you yet. You've already walked through the part that scared your enemies the most, and you're still here, calm, unshaken, and twice as dangerous. If you're really ready to keep going, to break this thing down piece by piece and understand exactly why your silence turned into their nightmare, then mark your presence. Drop a 777 in the comments so the universe knows you're stepping into the version of yourself they never wanted to meet. And hit that like and subscribe button as your way of fueling this mission, because every chosen one who stays strengthens the entire force behind this message. So here's your moment of truth. If you feel that pull in your chest right now, that strange mix of curiosity and power, that's not an accident. That's the shift happening. That's the quiet evolution they hope to interrupt. Stay with me through every step, and you'll see exactly why they prayed for your anger, but feared what came instead. Let's move forward. The next part starts now. Number 1. Precision turned into power. They can't survive. Funny how the same people who poked the beast now panic because it learned to think. Your silence wasn't weakness, it was the moment they realized their tricks had expired. Nothing scares an enemy more than the version of you they can't predict anymore. They studied your rage, they never studied your evolution. Chosen one, this part of your transformation is where their whole world starts glitching. They had an entire strategy ready for the angry you. That version was easy to manipulate, easy to blame, easy to control. Rage is noisy. Rage leaves fingerprints. Rage gives them material to twist. And they were counting on it, waiting for it, practically praying for that moment when you'd explode and prove their narrative true. But instead of breaking, you upgraded. Instead of screaming, you locked in. Instead of reacting, you recalibrated. And nothing terrifies a manipulator more than a person who stops being predictable. You didn't lose your fire. You refined it. You didn't calm down. You evolved into something they never learned how to handle. Imagine this. They throw the same insult that used to send you spiraling. But this time, you don't flinch. You don't answer. You just look at them like you're observing a malfunctioning machine that doesn't realize it's already outdated. Watch their face in that moment. Watch how the confidence drains. Watch how their voice cracks. That's the shift. That's the precision. Another one, imagine someone tries to guilt trip you the same way they used to. They expect you to explain yourself, defend yourself, justify your boundaries. But instead, you respond with one sentence, "I'm not entertaining this." Look how fast they backpedal. That's precision. And another, imagine someone brings up your name in a room, thinking you'll snap back like before. Instead, you smile calmly because you already outgrown their whole environment. That's the moment they realize they're dealing with someone who doesn't play in the mud anymore. That's precision. And the last one, imagine standing in the middle of everything that was meant to break you, and instead of panicking, you feel nothing but clarity. You see every lie, every trick, every manipulation for what it really was. That's not anger, that's awareness, and awareness is lethal. You might ask yourself, why do they look so nervous around me now? Because they know you see through them. Why do they get awkward when I don't react? Because they don't know what that silence means. Why do people who once ran their mouth suddenly go quiet? Because they don't know what you're planning anymore. Anger made you readable. Precision makes you unpredictable. They had files, patterns, assumptions, rehearsed responses for the old version of you. They had emotional traps ready, waiting for you to step into them. They studied your triggers, learned your weaknesses, memorized your reactions. But they never prepared for what would happen when you stopped giving them access to your emotions entirely. That's why your transformation hits harder than any rage could. Rage was their playground. But this is spiritual warfare of a higher level. This is strategy. This is emotional discipline. This is the moment you leveled up without announcing it, and suddenly they're facing an opponent they don't have a manual for. They can't guilt-trip someone who already accepted the truth. They can't manipulate someone who sees the pattern. They can't intimidate someone who feels nothing but clarity. They can't provoke someone who refuses to perform. And here's the beauty of it. They know you're dangerous now. Not because you'll lash out, but because you won't. Your silence is heavier than your rage. Your calm is sharper than any threat. Your presence carries the weight of everything you've survived and everything you refuse to tolerate again. You became surgical. You became observant. You became intentional. You became someone who moves with purpose instead of emotion. While they were waiting for you to explode, you were busy documenting their patterns. While they were hoping you'd snap, you were quietly memorizing every inconsistency. While they thought they were winning, you were turning their behavior into evidence of who they really are. That's why you're untouchable now. That's why they whisper instead of yell. That's why they keep their distance instead of daring you to react. That's why their energy collapses when you enter the room. You're not angry. You're awakened. You're not emotional. You're strategic. You're not reacting. You're evolving. You didn't explode outward. You imploded inward and rebuilt yourself from the ashes of who they thought you were supposed to stay. You turned your pain into precision. You turned your confusion into clarity. You turned your heartbreak into boundaries. And now you're the problem they can't solve. Because people can prepare for anger. No one can prepare for someone who transcended it. You became the storm that doesn't roar. You became the shadow they can't predict. You became the silence that exposes every lie. You became the version of yourself that operates on a frequency they can't reach. And that's why they wish you were angry, because what you became is way worse. Number 2, the fear they pretend doesn't exist. Wild how the loudest enemies go silent the moment you stop giving them a stage. They wanted you broken. Now they can't even look you in the eyes. Nothing haunts a guilty soul more than the person who refuses to react. Chosen one, this is the fear they choke on every time your name comes up. Not fear of what you might do, but fear of what you already turned into. They're not studying your actions anymore. They're studying your evolution, trying to decode how you became so calm, so steady, so untouchable. They watch you walk through spaces like someone who isn't fueled by anger, but by something sharper, something colder, something they can't influence. They expected you to crumble. Instead, you became someone who doesn't flinch at things that once destroyed you. Imagine them waiting for the old version of you to show up, the emotional one, the reactive one, the one they knew how to manipulate. But now, they look at you and realize that version is gone. They watch you smile at moments they built, hoping you'd break. They watch you choose distance instead of chasing. They watch you build quietly where they once expected you to collapse. You might wonder, why are they acting strange around me? Why so awkward? Why so cautious? Because they can't read you anymore. They don't know if you're done with them or simply beyond them. And that uncertainty eats at them. What scares them isn't anger. Anger is easy. Anger means you're still attached. What terrifies them is your detachment, your peace, your absence from the emotional battlefield they built to trap you. You're not playing their game, not even acknowledging them as opponents. You're operating on a frequency they can't access, moving like someone who outgrew every trap they set. They wished for your rage. Your evolution is so much worse. Number 3. Their storyline crumbled the moment you stopped playing your role. They wrote the script. You burned it without saying a word. They needed you emotional. You showed up, evolved. Nothing collapses faster than a lie exposed by someone who refuses to break. Chosen one, this is the part that's eating them alive. Their entire narrative depended on you losing control. They wanted the meltdown. They wanted the scene. They wanted the evidence. If you had exploded, they could have pointed, judged, smirked and said, "See, this is who they are." That's why they poked you, baited you, tested you. They were building a case, stacking assumptions like shaky dominoes, waiting for you to knock them down. But instead of raging, you did something far more dangerous. You understood. You watched patterns instead of reacting to provocations. You treated their betrayal like data, not destiny. You read their manipulation like a manual. You saw their lies as information, not wounds. And when the truth landed, instead of screaming, you stepped forward with the quiet confidence of someone who already knows how the story ends. Imagine them replaying old scenes, expecting to see someone broken, only to realize you used every hit as raw material for your evolution. That's why they're panicking now. Because you didn't ask for closure. You didn't ask for explanations. You didn't ask for justice. You simply left the storyline entirely. They don't know how to handle someone who doesn't beg. They don't know how to handle someone who doesn't chase. They don't know how to handle someone who walked away from the battlefield while they were still sharpening their weapons. You might wonder, why do they keep revisiting the past? Why can't they move on like I did? Because their power ended the second you healed. They're stuck in the scene where they thought they destroyed you. Meanwhile, you stepped into a new chapter they weren't invited to. They thought ending you was the finale. Turns out, it was just the intermission. Number 4. The calm that makes their soul shake. People can fight what you say, but they collapse when they realize they can't shake your peace. They survived your anger. They won't survive your evolution. Your silence used to confuse them. Now it exposes their entire strategy. Chosen one, this is the part that haunts them at night. It's not your glow-up, your wins, or your progress that terrifies them. It's that unnerving, unshakable stillness you move with now. The kind of calm that shouldn't exist in someone who's been through what you've been through. They threw betrayals meant to collapse you. They delivered losses designed to erase you. They built storms hoping to drown you. And you didn't crumble, didn't beg, didn't self-destruct. You simply continued. Imagine their confusion watching you walk around with the kind of stability they thought they had successfully stolen from you. They expected chaos. You gave them composure. They expected collapse. You gave them control. They expected rage. You gave them a quiet that feels like a threat. You might be thinking, why does my calm bother them this much? Because calm means you've seen everything, felt everything, survived everything, and you're still standing. Calm means you understand the game, the players, and the traps. Calm means you're no longer emotionally accessible to people who fed off your reactions. They can't weaponize someone who refuses to react. They can't manipulate someone who isn't moved. They can't control someone who doesn't need their validation. And here's the part they'll never admit. Your stability proves they never had the power they thought they did. Every attempt to break you turned into proof of your evolution. Every loss you endured became a brick in your new foundation. You didn't rise from anger. You rose from awareness. You realized that revenge is temporary, but becoming undeniable is permanent. You stopped flipping their board and started designing your own universe. And that, chosen one, is what terrifies them most. Number 5. The silence that screams through their skeleton. Your silence hits harder than any confrontation you could have given them. Nothing shakes a guilty person more than the sound of someone who finally has nothing left to say. When you stopped explaining yourself, their entire strategy collapsed. Chosen one, this is the part where their mind starts eating itself alive. Your silence isn't peaceful to them. It's punishment, it's pressure, it's the kind of quiet that exposes every lie they ever told, every game they ever played, every excuse they ever hid behind. They used to thrive off your reactions. They studied your emotions like hunters memorize their prey. But now, you give them nothing. No anger, no explanations, no updates. Just silence thick enough to suffocate their whole narrative. Imagine them scrolling through your old messages at 3 a.m., trying to figure out the exact moment you detached. They whisper to each other, "Why aren't they talking about us? Why aren't they mad? Why did they just stop?" They don't realize it wasn't one moment. It was all of them. Every betrayal, every lie, every tiny cruelty, they layered themselves into your decision like bricks in a wall you eventually walked away from. You might wonder, why does my silence affect them this much? Because silence from the person they tried to break is the loudest sound in the universe. It echoes through every insecurity they tried to hide. It reminds them of their choices. It drags their own reflection into the spotlight. And here's the part that hits them hardest. You didn't stay silent to punish them. You stayed silent because you finally understood. You studied them like a scientist studies a virus, observing symptoms, patterns, triggers. You didn't internalize the pain, you analyzed it. You didn't absorb their toxicity, you documented it. And somewhere along the line, you became immune to everything they used to control you with. They can't gaslight you anymore because you know the truth too well. They can't guilt trip you because your conscience is clean and theirs isn't. They can't ghost you because you detached long before they had the chance. You leveled so far beyond their manipulation that their old tactics feel childish now. Your silence isn't absence. Your silence is evolution, and nothing terrifies them more than realizing you're no longer accessible to the games they mastered. Number 6. The rise that makes their eyes twitch. They buried you shallow because they thought you'd stay down. Now they're terrified you grew roots. Your glow isn't accidental, it's the revenge they can't screenshot. Nothing breaks a manipulator faster than seeing the person they tried to ruin become unreachable. Chosen one, this is the part that fries their circuits. They're standing there, mouth half open, watching you bloom into someone they never believed you could be. And the funniest part? You're not blooming despite them. You're blooming because the universe dragged them out of your garden. Their presence was poison, their absence was fertilizer, and now you're rising in ways the old version of you would have never imagined. Imagine them scrolling through your life, watching you create, smile, move forward, build things they swore you'd never have the strength to. They wanted you dependent. They wanted you broken. They wanted you so tangled in their chaos that you'd never find your way out. But you slipped through every trap like it was made of paper. You became the living contradiction to every lie they told about you. You might think, do they really care that much? They do, more than they'll ever admit. Because villains need victims to feel powerful. Manipulators need someone beneath them to feel tall. And you deleted their entire role. You didn't just walk away. You erased the version of you they thought they owned. You became a character too powerful for their story to contain. They thought destroying you was the finale, but all they did was trigger your transformation. You're blooming in real time, chosen one, in places they swore you'd never grow. In soil they tried to poison, in light they tried to block. You are the proof that a person can be shattered and still decide to build something stronger from the pieces. And that's the bloom they can't comprehend. Number 7, when you became the architect instead of the aftershock. They wanted you reacting so they could feel relevant. Now they flinch at every move you make. Your peace used to be optional. Now it's the force that rearranges their entire reality. Nothing humiliates an enemy more than realizing they're no longer the cause of your emotions. Chosen one, this is where the transformation hits its peak. When you were angry, you were stuck in their orbit. Every reaction you had was a response to something they triggered. They pulled a string, you moved. They started a fire, you tried to put it out. You were the effect. They were the cause, and trust me, they were proud of that. They mistook your hurt for dependence, your reactions for attachment, your anger for proof that they mattered. Then you did the unthinkable. You stopped reacting. You started creating. Imagine them trying to get your attention now, throwing the same petty shade, doing the same predictable nonsense. But instead of biting, you're busy building, busy growing, busy choosing a life that doesn't revolve around their drama. You became the one setting the tone without even trying. Your silence triggers them. Your peace confuses them. Your happiness without them. That's the bullet they never recover from. You might wonder, why does my joy bother them so much? Because your joy proves they were never the source. Your stability proves they weren't your foundation. Your evolution proves they weren't your limit. Your calmness has become their chaos. Your lack of reaction is the mirror they can't stand to look into. They're stuck responding to a version of you that no longer exists, scrambling to understand how they went from being your cause to being nothing but background noise. And here's the raw truth. You didn't stop caring because you hated them. You stopped caring because you outgrew them. You realized they were the last chain on your mind, the final anchor keeping you tied to an old version of yourself. And you didn't break that chain with rage. Rage would have given them closure. Rage would have shown you still cared. You broke it with indifference, the cleanest cut, the deepest wound, the proof that you're creating a life they never had the ability to ruin. You went from reaction to creation, and they can't keep up. Number 8, the version of you they can't reach even with a map. Nothing terrifies a guilty soul more than the person who healed past their access. They swung at you for years, now they can't even touch your shadow. When you stopped responding, their entire purpose collapsed. Chosen one, this is the part where you stop being a character in their story and become a myth in their memory. The kind of indifference you carry now isn't casual, it's earned. It's carved. It's the kind of calm that only comes from someone who walked through hell, catalogued every demon, survived every hit, and came back with the keys in their hand like trophies. That's why you feel so different. That's why they act so strange. You didn't just heal. You evolved into a version of yourself that no longer bleeds where they used to cut. Imagine them trying to reach you now, texting, lurking, watching, poking the air like you're still available, but you're not standing where they left you. You became a ghost in their world while being fully alive in your own. That's the ultimate power move, not revenge, not exposing their lies, not proving a point, but peace so clean, so stable, so unshakable that it renders them irrelevant. You might ask yourself, why does my peace feel so threatening to them? Because peace means you finally understood the truth. They were never as powerful as the damage they caused. Because peace means they no longer guide your reactions. Because peace means you learn to live without the noise they once used to control you. They wanted you angry. Anger is clumsy. Anger makes mistakes. Anger gives them something to twist, but you didn't give them rage. You slipped into silence, and in that silence, you became untouchable. You moved beyond their reach, beyond their opinions, beyond their story. You didn't destroy them. You simply outgrew the version of yourself that allowed them in. That's what makes you untouchable now. Number 9. The level up. They'll spend years trying to replicate. You didn't change the room changed because of you. They tried to dim you, now they squint just to handle your glow. People don't respect you because you survived. They respect you because you evolved. Chosen one, this is where your evolution becomes undeniable. You walk into rooms now and something shifts. Not fear, not intimidation, recognition. People can feel when someone has walked through fire and didn't come out with burns, but with a blueprint. They sense the weight you carry, the history behind your silence, the knowledge behind your eyes. You don't have to brag, explain, or convince. Your presence does the talking for you. Imagine the same people who overlooked you before, the ones who dismissed you, doubted you, abandoned you, now watching you like you're a phenomenon they can't decode. They remember the version of you that hurt. They ignored that one. But this version, the one that healed, they can't take their eyes off it. Healing wasn't supposed to look this powerful. Growth wasn't supposed to look this effortless. But here you are, expanding in real time, turning every scar into strategy. You might think, why are they suddenly paying attention? Why act like they care now? Because evolution exposes cowardice. Because strength exposes regret. Because rising exposes who stayed crawling. And now they want access. They want answers. They want the secret formula you used to rebuild yourself from the ashes they left you in. But here's the truth. You don't owe them the blueprint. What you did isn't a lesson. It's a miracle they'll never recreate. You survived poison designed specifically for you, and instead of dying, you became immune. You became the flame they thought the fire would kill. That's the evolution they can't match. Number 10. The tomorrow they'll never catch up to. They're still arguing with the ghost of who you used to be, while you're already busy becoming someone they'll never meet again. Your past is their obsession. Your future is their punishment. You didn't outgrow them by accident. You outpaced them by design. Chosen one, this is where the gap becomes permanent. They're stuck replaying old scenes, over-analyzing old versions of you, dissecting mistakes you already outgrew. Meanwhile, you're operating in a future they can't access. Building a life they can't sabotage, becoming a person they no longer have the privilege to misunderstand. The distance between you and them isn't petty. It's necessary. It's what happens when someone evolves past their environment and refuses to shrink back just to make insecure people comfortable. Imagine them squinting at your past like detectives, trying to find evidence of the person you no longer are. They study your ashes like they mean something, not realizing you burned that version of yourself on purpose. They're stuck in the ruins while you're already airborne. You didn't just rise, you left the atmosphere, and they can't breathe where you're going. You might ask, am I being cold? Am I being distant? No, you're being focused. Focus feels like cruelty to people who once depended on your chaos. Growth feels like abandonment to those who expected you to stay small. This is evolution in its purest form. Not loud, not theatrical, not designed for applause, just disciplined, relentless forward motion. You're no longer proving them wrong. That was the old mission. Now you're proving yourself right. Every step forward is a receipt of your resilience. Every win is a reminder that your potential was never tied to their approval. You don't owe the past a single backward glance. Your future is the only thing that matters. And the wildest part? They can't follow you there. That's the unreachable future. Number 11. The ending they never saw coming. They tried to beat you at a game you stopped playing. That's the humiliation they choke on. Your peace is the checkmate they can't undo, rewrite, or spin. When you walked off the board, the whole strategy collapsed with you. Chosen one, this is the final blow. The moment everything they built against you turns into a trap for them. They're stuck trying to interpret every breath you take, every silence you choose, every step you move forward with. Your existence has become their scoreboard, and every outcome puts them in the losing position. If they talk about you, you live rent-free in their mind, taking up the emotional space they swore you'd never matter in. If they ignore you, it's not indifference, it's intimidation. They're scared they'll reveal too much with a single word. If they reach out, they prove your value. They prove your absence mattered. They prove the void they mocked became the one they now fear. If they stay silent, they confirm the truth. You replaced them so effortlessly, it left them speechless. You might wonder, is it really this deep? Yes, because when someone loses access to the version of you they could manipulate, it hits like a crisis. They're wrestling with their ego now, not with you. Everything they do screams insecurity, regret, confusion. And the beauty is, you don't have to lift a finger. Your peace is the checkmate. Your detachment is the final move. Your evolution is the game-ending strike. They can't brag. They can't twist the narrative. They can't pretend they're winning, because how do you win against someone who isn't even playing? That's what makes this the ultimate checkmate. You didn't fight for victory. You became victory by stepping back, by leveling up, by refusing to be dragged back into a game built on cheap tricks and emotional traps. They lost the moment you chose yourself, and the silence that followed. That was the sound of the king falling. Checkmate. Number 12. The moment you became their karma without even trying. They wanted you broken, but you rebuilt so beautifully it feels like punishment. Your peace wasn't meant to hurt them, it just did, because chaos addicts suffer when the supply dies. You're not their consequence on purpose. You're their consequence by evolution. Chosen one, this is where the truth gets sharp. You're not doing anything to them. That's what makes this sting so vicious. Your healing isn't an attack. Your growth isn't a performance. Your peace isn't a weapon. But to people who fed on your reactions, lived off your pain, and measured their worth by how deeply they could shake you, Your evolution feels like violence. They were used to being your center, your trigger, your storm, and now you've become the calm they can't disrupt. They're in withdrawal, starving for the chaos they once controlled. Let them hurt. Let them refresh your page. Let them reread old messages, hunting for cracks they'll never find. You're fortified now, protected by standards they never thought you'd develop, guarded by boundaries they never believed you had the courage to enforce. And here's the dagger, the version of you they abused into numbness, gone, dead, buried, unreachable. What stands now is the upgraded model, sharper, wiser, colder, and far more selective with access. They awakened something in you they can't leash, can't manipulate, can't guilt, can't break. You became the living consequence of their choices. You became the story they hoped you'd never grow into. Imagine them watching you now, realizing the pain they caused didn't end you. It architected you. Every hit you took became a blueprint. Every betrayal became a brick. Every loss became a lesson. They didn't destroy you. They accidentally built someone they can't touch. You might think, shouldn't I want apologies, closure, validation? You don't need any of it. Survival was your closure. Evolution was your apology to yourself. Peace became your validation. Everyone who sees you now understands exactly what happened. Survival was a choice you made when they expected you to fold. Evolution was a decision you repeated every day they expected you to fail. Peace became a practice you mastered while they clung to chaos. You didn't need them to change. You didn't need them to fix anything. You didn't need them to come back with, "I'm sorry." You just needed to choose yourself with the same intensity they chose to hurt you. And you did. Every single day, quietly, consistently, relentlessly. You chose you. And that is what ruined them. Number 13. The return they never saw coming. They prayed you wouldn't come back. They just never imagined you'd return like this. They expected a survival. You walked in like a reckoning. Nothing rattles an enemy more than realizing the person they broke is gone, and the one who replaced them doesn't blink. Chosen one, this is the part of the story where the floor drops under their feet. They thought the old you, the soft one, the forgiving one, the one they could gaslight into silence, would eventually crawl back. They were wrong. You didn't return as the version they destroyed. That version stayed dead. You walked back in as the upgrade, the evolution, the aftermath they never planned for. Imagine the look on their faces when you re-enter a room they once controlled. They're scanning you like a glitch in their system. Your eyes don't carry the insecurity they use to exploit. Your voice doesn't tremble. Your energy doesn't bend. Everything about you is unfamiliar, and that's exactly what scares them. They're dealing with someone they can't read anymore, someone they can't guilt into staying, someone they can't provoke into reacting. You might even wonder, why do they look so uncomfortable around me now? Because you're not predictable, because the access they once abused is gone, because the wounds they caused are sealed shut, polished over, and weaponized into wisdom. You didn't just heal, you mutated, you shifted form, you stepped onto a higher frequency that they don't have the emotional vocabulary to understand. Your presence alone rewrites the energy of the room. People straighten up, conversations reroute, silence grows heavier. You're not demanding respect, you are respect. And here's the part that destroys them. You didn't need revenge or closure or their validation to return powerful. You returned on your own terms. You returned with your own standard. You returned with your own peace. They weren't prepared for this version. They weren't prepared for someone who outgrew their entire playbook. They weren't prepared for the plot twist, where the one they tried to shatter becomes the one they can't manage, can't manipulate, and can't forget. This is your return, and it's the one they'll never recover from. Number 14. The aura. They'll break themselves, trying to copy. They can steal your words, your style, your moves, but they'll never steal the energy you earned in the dark. Confidence you didn't bleed for is cosplay. Your glow isn't aesthetic, it's the proof you walked through hell and came back lit from the inside. Chosen one, this is the part where you stop being a person and start being a presence. You carry an energy now that can't be practiced in the mirror, can't be mimicked through fake quotes, can't be learned from self-help posts. It's the kind of aura that comes from surviving nights that should have broken you. People feel it before they understand it. They sense something sharpened, something settled, something unbothered in a way most humans never reach. Imagine someone trying to act like you, trying to copy your calm, your tone, your posture. But the moment life gets even slightly inconvenient, they crumble. That's the difference. They're performing peace. You became peace. They're posing with confidence. You earned yours brick by brick, disaster by disaster, betrayal by betrayal. You might wonder, why do people stare now? Why do they get quiet? Why does the mood shift when I enter spaces? Because your energy exposes what's fake in theirs. Because you carry a steadiness they can't imitate. Because you're not powered by ego, you're powered by experience. And experience hits different. Your stillness intimidates people who rely on noise. Your confidence unnerves people who rely on approval. Your composure rattles people who never learned emotional discipline. They don't understand that your glow wasn't handed to you. It was carved out of every moment you were forced to grow alone. They didn't see the nights you rebuilt yourself, piece by piece. They didn't witness the internal war you fought silently. They didn't feel the transformation that happened in the dark, without an audience, without applause. They want your aura, without doing your work. They want your shine, without surviving your shadows. They want your strength, without enduring your storms. But that's why they'll never have it. Because the energy you carry now isn't a look, it's a lineage. A spiritual scar that healed into something powerful, a vibration only earned, never borrowed, never copied. You intimidate without trying, you inspire without speaking, you stand out without performing. Your aura isn't an act, it's the aftershock of your evolution. Number 15, the ending where you walk away untouched. They wanted a war. You gave them a disappearance. Nothing destroys an enemy faster than realizing they don't matter anymore. Your freedom wasn't won in battle. It was won the moment you stopped looking back. Chosen one, this is the final scene, the one they never prepared for, because in their imagination, the story always ended with you broken, begging, or battling. They expected a clash, a showdown, a dramatic confrontation that would prove they still had a grip on your spirit. But you gave them the one ending they can't fight, can't rewrite, can't survive. You walked away untouched. Imagine the past trailing behind you like smoke while you continue moving forward with that clean, steady stride of someone who knows the world ahead is bigger than anything behind. You didn't destroy them. You dissolved the version of you that allowed them in. You didn't expose them. You simply outgrew the need for validation, explanation, closure, or revenge. That's why this victory feels so cinematic. You became the character who doesn't need to strike back. Your evolution did the striking for you. You might wonder, is walking away really enough? It's more than enough. Silence is the final plot twist. Peace is the final punishment. Growth is the final goodbye. while they're replaying old memories like broken tapes, trying to find the moment they lost control. You're already in a different storyline, one they weren't written into. Their relevance evaporates every time you choose yourself. Their importance fades every time you smile without them. Their power dies every time you wake up and decide to keep going. There's something breathtaking about an ending where you don't win by force, you win by elevation. You rise so far beyond the chaos that the chaos can't climb high enough to reach you. You become untouched, not because you hid from the fire, but because you learned how to walk through it without letting the flames claim you. This is your final frame, you moving forward with no rage, no bitterness, no chains, just clarity. The world ahead is wide open. The past behind you shrinks into nothing, and every step you take is a reminder that the real victory wasn't beating them. It was outgrowing them. And now, chosen one, as the dust finally settles, there's only one truth left standing. You didn't just survive the war, you outgrew the battlefield. This new chapter is yours, free from their shadows, powered by your evolution, protected by your peace. If this message hit home, press like, subscribe, and drop 77 in the comments so the universe knows you're stepping into your next level. Share this with someone who needs the reminder that walking away untouched is the most legendary victory of all.